Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, August 12, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center that just came out today, we can see that for the time period from August 20 to August 26, as well as the time period from August 27 to September 2, there should be some amount of greens across the Atlantic. We see where the greens are located, and it's on the lighter shade. We know the greens represent a 50% chance of above average rainfall probability. That only means more tropical waves are going to be pushing from Africa across the main development region. And we also see some red as well as red and white patterns at the same time periods. And we know, based on what we see on the key on the bottom, the red and white patterns represent a 20 to 40% chance of tropical cyclone formation probability. So this is basically telling us that some of these tropical waves coming off of Africa during these time periods, August 20 to August 26, August 27 to September 2, they could definitely develop into tropical depressions, if not tropical storms or hurricanes, just like what's happening right now with tropical storm Erin. So there's more of that to come even after Erin is long gone. Taking a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:36 p.m. Jamaica time. We can see that we have a brand new code yellow right here in the Western Caribbean actually. And if we look back at the infrared, we can see the thunderstorms just taunting Jamaica right here, just to the west of us. There's a lot of bad weather taking place across portions of northeastern Nicaragua, section of Honduras. Definitely got on some heavy rainfall today, for sure. And we're also still monitoring that code yellow right here, just to the east of the northeastern US, and tropical storm Erin. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see all of the entities that we just mentioned. Tropical wave right here to the west of Jamaica, a lot of lightning associated with that. The area that has a low chance of development right here to the east of New York, and we can also see tropical storm Erin right here. Not really looking impressive right now, as a matter of fact. The area to the west of Jamaica looks even more impressive than Erin right now in terms of the deep convection. But if we see what the Hurricane Center has just stated regarding this year, let us read from left to right. So they've stated here, a tropical wave over the northwestern Caribbean Sea is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms extending across eastern Honduras, northeastern Nicaragua, and adjacent marine areas. The system is forecast to move west-northwestward and cross the Yucatan Peninsula on Wednesday with no significant increase in organization. Some development of this system is possible after it emerges across the southwestern Gulf beginning on Thursday, while the system moves to the west-northwest or northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And we see that they've given the area a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Regarding this area to the north, they've stated a non-tropical area of low pressure located a few hundred miles southeast of Nova Scotia, Canada, is producing disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity to the west of its center. Some limited tropical or subtropical development is possible through early Wednesday as the low meanders near the relatively warm waters of the Gulf Stream. The system is expected to move northward over cooler waters later on Wednesday, ending its chances for tropical development. And with that, they've given the area a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, as well as within the next 7 days. I know that if something should form, the next names on the list after Erin are Fernand, followed by Gabrielle. But let us look at Erin right here, a close up. We can see the thunderstorms associated with it in terms of the yellows, the oranges, and reds. Not really looking impressive right now. I'm trying to get there. Regarding the Euro Ensemble Spaghetti model plot, still adamant that the system should pass just to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. And it's not only the Euro Ensembles, but even the GFS ensembles, definitely tightly packed, and also making it up to hurricane status. All of these reds, definitely hurricane status for sure. And even this model intensity guidance still adamant this system should make it up to hurricane status by the next 2 days. Yesterday it was 3 days time, now it's 2 days time, so it's actually adding up. We see most of the models right here heading up into hurricane status in the yellows, even in the major hurricane status in the reds over here. So very interesting times ahead. We're going to be getting in on our first major hurricane, and as such the hurricane center has still highlighted this area to become a major hurricane. We see the M right here that means major hurricane. Major hurricanes basically pack maximum sustained wind of anywhere from 111 miles per hour all the way up to 157 or more, anywhere from category 3 to 5 for sure. As of right now, Erin is only packing maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. That anywhere from 39 to 73 mile per hour winds basically makes it a tropical storm. So it's a low end tropical storm, closer to tropical depression status than to hurricane status at this time. It is expected to continue pushing west, if not west southwest, maintaining tropical storm status up until early Friday morning, where it's expected to become a hurricane, as you can see by these H's, then becoming a major hurricane right here by the time it is to the north of Puerto Rico on a Sunday. Very interesting. As of right now, it is moving towards west at 22 miles per hour, a bit fast for sure, and we can see it right here on the surface map right over here, represented by this purple symbol. We can also see the tropical that the hurricane center is highlighted across the northwestern Caribbean right here, and another tropical wave is supposedly right here affecting the Dominican Republic. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out those entities that the surface map has just showed. Tropical wave now affecting section of Honduras, section of Nicaragua. You can also see the clouds associated with Erin spinning away right here. There's supposedly a tropical wave somewhere in here, not really seeing the moisture associated with that, boy. These tropical waves are just taunting us here in Jamaica. Either way, we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, August 12, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some central and western parishes on Tuesday afternoon. And we know western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. And what ended up happening? At around 5:05 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at 5:05 p.m., we highlighted the overcast skies, if not the isolated thunder showers that were affecting portion of not only central and western parishes. So definitely we can see the thunderstorms, especially in the sparkling yellow dots that we know represent the lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, across sections of Westmoreland, across sections of Hanover. Some of the activities spilling into sections of St. James, Trelawney, and the inland areas of some central parishes definitely gotten on some of the action. We're talking about southern St. Anne, northeastern Manchester, northern Clarendon, and even maybe far northwestern St. Catherine getting in on some of the action. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images of Jamaica right here before we lost sunlight. We can definitely see all of the clouds pushing westward, definitely bring the thunderstorms to sections of St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland for sure, with some of the clouds across section of Trelawney and the inland areas of some central parishes. But as you can see, by the time we're losing the sunlight, everything was starting to dissipate, and the infrared definitely confirming right here the thunderstorms that took place out west. All of the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, as we know, represent that cumulonimbus cloud cover, not to mention the sparkling white dots that we know represents the amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we definitely had the thunderstorms across sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, for sure, just as predicted. And even the Little London in Westmoreland camera was confirming that rainfall here in Westmoreland. We see some people right here walking with their umbrellas. Windshield wipers are definitely on, definitely getting on some rainfall. This was at around 5:24 p.m. this evening. And if you remember yesterday, they definitely got some heavy rainfall, so that 2 afternoons in a row of some decent rainfall, but definitely nothing like what the weather was like yesterday. Definitely less rainfall here. Looks like most of the rainfall was just to the northeast of there, but they still got rainfall to cool down the temperatures nonetheless. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free, so subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming where we had that rainfall today. Ignore the rainfall in the east, didn't get on anything over here. Definitely saw the rainfall, especially across sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, even sections of Trelawney for sure. And we have a few comments confirming what the weather is like in some of our followers' areas. Angelique Francis stating, Westmoreland getting a lot of rain, every day is rain. And even Marlon_1God_ stating, place hot weather Jamaica right there in Clarendon. And if we reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar, the latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the latest Cayman radar to confirm what's happening right now. Let us see. So the latest infrared is showing 0015 UTC, which is actually 7:15 p.m. So this just came out 8 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:23 p.m. right now. As you can see, not much in the way of cloud cover across the entire island. Just some leftover clouds right here to the southwest of the island, right here just to the west of St. Elizabeth. The Jamaican Doppler radar, let us pause it and stop it right here. So we just looked at, what was the timestamp? 0015 UTC, so that's 7:15. The Jamaican Doppler radar showing 0012 UTC, so that's 7:12. And if we zoom in a bit, let's see. Alright, okay, it doesn't look like it can zoom in. Alright, there we go. So we don't see much of anything across Jamaica at this time. We see some heavy rainfall across sections of southeastern Cuba, right over here though, just to the west of Guantanamo. Let us see what's happening on the latest Cuban Doppler radar. Looks like it glitched out at around 6:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was actually 5:50 p.m. Jamaica time. At that time, we saw some rain bands exiting the western portion of Jamaica though. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar confirming that rainfall that we just saw across sections of southeastern Cuba, just over here, the moderate to heavy rainfall just to the west of Guantanamo. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar now, Cayman radar showing some of that rainfall that we saw on the Jamaican Doppler radar, and we're also seeing a lot of rainfall to the southwest of the Cayman Islands associated with this tropical wave that the Hurricane Center has highlighted for development over the next 7 days. So all of these clouds, we're actually seeing the moisture underneath. Some decent moderate to heavy rainfall, as you can see here, just off to the southwest of the Cayman Islands. And if we take a look at what's happening right now, according to the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we can see the Barbican camera showing that it is definitely fair. Nothing in the weather is bad tonight for sure. You can clearly see people walking, people driving about, going about their business. And that should be the order of the evening. Fair conditions for sure. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we are 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in the yellows that we know represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature. And we know the normal temperature for the month of August across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32.8 to 33.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these maintenance outages because when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Wednesday, August 13, 2025. We're referring to Turners to Dunks in the parish of Clarendon from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they've also added some additional areas. Additional affected areas include Turners, Four Pass, Ivy Store, Chapelton, Summerfield, Dunks, Morgan Spas, Johnny's Hill, Brandon Hill, Kellet, Pedro, Crofts Hill, Louis Dasvale, Matney, Tate, and Reckford. We also see outages expected for Australia Road, Binns Road, Waterhouse, all in St. Andrew from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Section of Carawina in Westmoreland from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Section of Sheffield in Westmoreland as well from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, we have Cold Spring, House Guard, Moko, Garlands, all in St. James from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Senior District and Cambridge in St. James as well from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold food such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those areas. And we see the long line of dry air extending all the way from Africa across the main development region into the central Caribbean. A lot of dry air, as you know. We know the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. And we wish we had more moisture like what we see here off the coast of Africa in the intertropical convergence zone. We also see a lot of it in and around Central America, the Gulf, the Western Caribbean. We wish we had more moisture like that in the blues because, wherever we have the moisture, we have the gray clouds, and we know wherever we have the clouds, we have the rainfall. We just wish we had more moisture across the entire Atlantic so that maybe we could get more rain to keep water in our pipes and cool down the temperatures. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, we're heading into August 13, 14, and 15, and as you can see, there's a vigorous plume of Saharan dust currently pushing through the eastern to the central Caribbean. The brunt of it should be passing just to the south of Jamaica, heading into Central America, Nicaragua, Honduras, Costa Rica, eventually El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize. We can see Jamaica just right here on the northern edge, but we're going to be seeing some of Saharan dust tomorrow, especially on the south coast. Then we should be, fluctuating in terms of the Saharan dust for sure. The 14th, not so much Saharan dust. The 15th, some slight Saharan dust. Then more than likely by the 16th, no Saharan dust at all. And we're grateful for this solution. It looked like the Saharan dust were going to be blasting us, but we're grateful that the brunt of it should just be passing to the south of us. We're definitely grateful for that because the Saharan dust can definitely cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger respiratory illnesses in some person. So I hope you're preparing for that tomorrow. Just some Saharan dust definitely going to be in the atmosphere for sure. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, still showing that the highest waves are right here to the far south of Jamaica, the dark blues into the purples and the pinks. Right here to the north of Panama and Colombia, that represents anywhere from 2 to 2.5 meter wave height, and that's because of the strong easterly winds that are expected down there. We see the bright greens into the yellows, 15 to 20 to 25 knot winds. But if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast, to the north of Portland tomorrow, 1 meter wave height, to the south of St. Thomas, 1.3 meter wave height, to the north of St. Anne's, 0.8 of a meter wave height, to the south of Clarendon, 0.7 of a meter wave height, to the north of Hanover, 0.6 of a meter wave height, and to the south of Westmoreland, 0.7 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Tomorrow we see the winds coming in from the east, averaging 15 knots to the south of St. Thomas, averaging 11 knots to the north of St. Anne, averaging 13 knots to the south of Clarendon and Manchester. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up. Wherever we have the least amount of wind, wherever we have the blues, that's where we're going to be having the low level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. So look out for that daytime heating convection across sections of some central and western parishes once again. And with that upper level wind coming in, looks like from the northeast tomorrow, definitely could bring more overcast skies to sections of some southern parishes. If we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? The blues represent rainfall mainly across sections of some central and western parishes, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS. So look out for that afternoon rainfall if you reside in the parishes of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, maybe Western Portland, section of maybe Northern St. Andrew, Northern St. Catherine, Northern Clarendon, Northern Manchester, Northern St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland getting in on some of the action as well. Look at this, we even see some slight blues just to the east of St. Thomas, so who knows, maybe we could get on some isolated showers in my area in St. Thomas, we'll see. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. We see the greens represent the rainfall, especially across the western end, maybe up to 0.4 of an inch of rainfall. GFS going up to 0.32 of an inch of rainfall in the northwest. We'll see how it goes, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. And whatever happens, whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of August. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive around 100 millimeters of rainfall for August. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive around 5 inches of rainfall for the month of August. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of August or for the entire year, you can visit www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website to show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours, that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens. They represent inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Wednesday's forecast. Now we're looking at 12Z on Thursday, which is actually 7 a.m. And we see Jamaica right here. Some rainfall to the northeast of us, and the greens and the yellows. Interesting. Then on Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the far western end of us. What does the GFS show? 7 a.m. on Thursday shows rainfall across northern and eastern parishes. Interesting. Thursday afternoon shows rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see for Friday? On Friday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. We're also seeing tropical storm Erin. Could be future hurricane Erin by that time. 1 p.m. on Friday, just to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. The GFS for Friday morning showing rainfall surrounding the island. And then on Friday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, with Erin right here, just like where the Euro has it, just to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Heading into Saturday morning now. What do we see for 12Z? Not really seeing much of anything on the Euro for Saturday morning across Jamaica. Saturday afternoon, not really showing much of anything out there. We're seeing some moisture starting to push into portion of the leeward islands, though, associated with Erin. Even although Erin is far out to sea, we see the outer bands starting to come in. I'm sure they're going to be grateful for the rainfall. And if we take a look at the GFS, let's see if we have the consensus. Saturday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and eastern parishes. And just like the Euro, we're seeing moisture across the leeward islands. I'm sure they're going to be grateful for whatever rainfall they get. On Sunday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Maybe some isolated showers across the northeastern end of the island. Then on Sunday afternoon. Look at that, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, not really seeing much of anything on the GFS. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting. What do we see on Monday morning? Monday morning, not really seeing much of anything. Monday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, and we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, August 19th. Not seeing much of anything across Jamaica, but look at this beast of a hurricane to the north of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Very interesting. What does the GFS show? Monday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Monday afternoon, we see rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Then at the end of the 168 hours, the GFS is showing also Tuesday, August 19th. And look at the difference. The Euro has this system right here just to the north of Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. GFS has this system more to the northeast of where the Euro has it. Very interesting. So there are some differences of opinion with where exactly the system should be just after it passes to the north of the Leeward Islands. We'll see how that plays out. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that there's going to be a lot of rainfall. Wherever we see the dark reds into the purples and the pinks, that we know represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall. That's going to be expected for where future Hurricane Aaron is expected to pass. A lot of rainfall out to sea, some of this rainfall into portion of the Leeward Islands, and we also see the usual crazy amount of rainfall across sections of Central America and Northern South America. Nothing new. Those areas could definitely get on some isolated flash flooding though. While other areas that are shaded in the yellows, oranges, reds that we see here on the key on the right, anywhere from an inch or less of rainfall is expected for portions of the Windward Islands, the Greater Antilles, into Florida as usual. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall totals that are expected, Jamaica still shaded in the blues and the greens, represents anywhere from 1 millimeter all the way to maybe 25 millimeters of rainfall. Keep in mind that this map is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until August 19. Not really much. Clearly the most rainfall should be just to the north of us on the Euro. The GFS on the other hand, for the next 7 days, is showing more rainfall than the Euro. We see Jamaica shaded in the greens and the yellows, representing anywhere from 50 all the way up to maybe 40, maybe even up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. And we'll see how all of that plays out for sure. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus your attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a decent tropical wave that the Hurricane Center is watching now across the Western Caribbean, lashing portions of Honduras, northeastern Nicaragua. Definitely going to be bringing some bad weather to portion of Belize. You also see that area that was across the northern Gulf. They'll bring some rainfall to the southern United States as we speak. We can see the usual thunderstorm activity across portion of northern South America. A lot of clouds and trailing into portions of the eastern portion of the Atlantic's main development region associated with the Intertropical Convergence Zone. And we have Tropical Storm Erin right there trying to get her act together. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery near Puerto Rico, let us see what's happening down there. You actually see some isolated shores across southwestern Puerto Rico. Don't really see much of anything across the Leeward Island. But if we load these images from earlier today, look at the moderate to heavy rainfall that affected western Puerto Rico today. They definitely got nailed. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can actually make out some rainfall coming in from the northeast into Barbados, some light to moderate rainfall like that. We also see all of that rainfall and trailing into portions of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada as well, getting on some of the action. For sure, and it looks like more rainfall could be on its way to portion of the Grenadines, maybe St. Lucia, maybe Barbados as well. And regarding the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see that we still have some rainfall currently affecting portion of western Florida, sections of the Yucatan. Rainfall out here associated with that tropical wave that the Hurricane Center has highlighted as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing where the rainfall is expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can clearly see the areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds represent at least up to 1 inch of rainfall or more. Right here, especially just across eastern Honduras, northeastern Nicaragua, section of Belize, the Yucatan. We see rainfall as well across section of Florida, Cuba expected, section of northern Bahamas, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Some rainfall also expected for sections of maybe St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, sections of Guyana, section of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, section of Suriname, French Guiana getting on some of the action. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast for sure. So you know the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Regarding what's happening over here in the eastern to the central Pacific, we still have Henriette right here to the north of the Hawaiian Islands, now downgraded back to a tropical storm. If we take a look at the infrared, we can see the system right here not really looking as impressive as it did when it was a hurricane as expected. We can see it right now packing maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour, so it's up there in tropical storm status. We know tropical storms pack winds of anywhere from 39 to 73 miles per hour wind, so it's up there in medium range tropical storm strength. It's expected to continue remaining a tropical storm into Wednesday, then downgrading back to a depression by Wednesday evening into Thursday. See it right now moving northwest at 18 miles per hour. And regarding what's happening on the western Pacific side of things, we're still watching Typhoon Podul. It is right here, the infrared right here, pushing a lot of the bad weather into southern Taiwan as we speak. Even if we take a look at the infrared, over here in Taiwan. Well, not the infrared, the Doppler radar imaging. You know, the Doppler radar actually shows the rainfall as opposed to satellite images that can show cloud cover. I wonder that we can have cloud cover over here and not necessarily rainfall. Look at the amount of rainfall that Taiwan is currently receiving. Notice how the rainfall goes when it comes to these systems. We have all of the rainfall wrapping around the system just like this, and they're definitely getting in. When some heavy rainfall coming in from the north and northeast, like this side, especially on the eastern side of Taiwan as we speak. And as usual, as soon as the system passes, we're going to be having more of a, easterly, if not a southeasterly flow on the eastern side. But they're definitely getting some heavy rainfall as we speak on the southern side of Taiwan. And trust me, you're going to be seeing some footage coming out within the next 48 or 24 to 48 hours showing flooding over there. They're used to it over there in Taiwan. We really like to see the Taiwan radar. As of right now, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is stating that Podul is packing maximum sustained winds of 85 knots. And if we take a look at the Saffir-Simpson wind scale in knots right here, anywhere from 84 to 95 knots is a category 2 hurricane. Know that over here they call them typhoons. It's expected to downgrade as soon as it heads onto land back to a 75 knot typhoon. That would make it a category 1 hurricane, and then it's expected to push into eastern China, and then as expected downgrade 45, 30, 20 knots. As soon as they move over land, they're going to be dissipating. But we have to highlight these parts of the world because we have friends and relatives, even from the Caribbean, from Jamaica, who live or work in these areas. So we definitely have to stay abreast to what's happening across the entire world. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.